All right. So I'm going to start again here. We're on the homepage, BidPlus homepage. Okay. Just want to stress right over here, the help menu, and come back to support. This is the support center. It has a ton of articles here. Okay, these are available to you at any time. You can access them from within the program. I'll show you how to do that. But this is the fastest, easiest way to get help instead of trying to contact us and waiting for us to get back to you. Okay, so what you would do is just come in here and type in the topic you're looking for. Hit type. And the topics will come and display down below, and then you pick the topic you want to see. There's a brief explanation of how it works and a quick video. The videos do not have sound on them. This is so we can put them together now and get them quick. Over time, we're going to start adding sound to them. That's been the request. But right now, it's a quick read on the article and a quick video, gets right to the point. You can get right back to work. Okay. From this screen, you click right on the logo to get back to the home page. From within the program, you can just go right back to the program and you're good. All right, so let's jump into the program. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And this is your desktop. This is where you access your bids. This is where you pretty much manage everything. Okay, all of your new bids are going to be in the left-hand window right here. It says right at the top, says new bid packages. I'm just pointing that out. For some reason, folks missed that part and not sure what's going on. So new bid packages at the top. Also notice these two buttons that say play and work. Those are new additions. You used to have to go to a separate test drive if you wanted to play with the program away from the bid period. We've combined that in here now. So when you log in, if it's not the bid period, it'll default to play. You can see when I click play, these are the old August test drive bids that are in here. So they don't charge you a credit. You're not charged anything to play with this all you like. And then the work bids, these are going to be your current bids. You can see they say October. So those are the ones that are current that we're working with right now. The credits that are available to you are right underneath. And to purchase the credits, that's the buy credits right here. I just wanted to explain now real quick about the credits. There's one credit per month, one credit per bid package is what you'll be spending. Couple things right now, as many of you are aware, the upload is not working. That's a CCS issue. We're working with them, but that upload facility that they built, that utility, is just too slow. It takes it about over 2 minutes to upload 100 lines. It takes about 13 minutes to upload 500 lines. With uploading to Unimatic and CCS prior to this, we used to be able to upload 1,500 lines in about 8 or 10 seconds. So it's really slowed down, and all it would do is bottleneck. So we're working with them, but that's the reason it's not available. That's not our doing. We're ready to go, but we're working with them on it. But in the meantime, we've gone ahead and given you this month free. Nobody's being charged for this month. Okay. So additionally, everybody gets a free month for joining. If you joined a while back, you got your free month. Everybody will receive an additional free month for attending the webinar. And then AFA has stepped up and offered 2 more months. So the communication you've been getting about getting 4 free months, it's not really they're going to come in and put 4 free credits into your account. That's not, it's kind of a miscommunication. You get 1 for joining, you get 1 for attending a webinar. We're giving you 1 because the upload is not working. And then AFA is adding 2 more. So you can, depending on your situation, get between 3 and 5 credits. And what will happen on the months that, like this month, we're not charging a credit. The 2 months for AFA, we will not be charging. Okay, so you won't be getting a credit into your account. There just won't be a charge to use it for that month. That's how that works, okay? So when you come in here to open your bid package, you'll just go ahead and click on the bid package you want to open. So I'm going to be using San Francisco for this demonstration. You go ahead and click on the bid package you want to open. Then you click Load Bid Package down at the bottom. This right now is letting you know that this is on us. It's a free month, but normally this would say you're about to spend 1 credit. So you're always warned ahead of time. You can't say, I didn't know I was spending a credit. It'll let you know right here. Okay, you go ahead and click OK. And the bid package will start opening up. We'll give it a second. It's a big bid package. I can't believe the size of these things. Okay, and then once the bid package is open, I'm going to close it right away so I can show you something else about the desktop. When you close your bid package, the one you're working on first, it's saved automatically as you're working. So if you happen to lose your connection or lose your power or something like that, you will not lose your work. The next time you come back in and log in, the bid package you were working on will be found in the right-hand window where it says previously opened bid packages. This is where you will not be charged for any bid packages in the right-hand window. This means you've already opened it, already started working. If I was to go back and try to open a San Francisco bid package again from the left-hand window, and I click load bid package, it's going to say you already have a saved bid package. It's referring to the one in the right-hand window. You already have one. Okay, so for some reason that's a little bit confusing, so I wanted to make sure to explain that. Okay, and if you want to delete a bid package from the right-hand window, you would just highlight it and click delete. But you might want to hold on to them because in the second month going forward, there's a second button underneath load bid package right here. It's not here because of the first month. It'll say import your previous criteria or something to that effect. But basically what the feature is designed to do is if you bid something similar from month to month, then you have the ability to indicate what bid package on the left, the new one that you're going to be using, and then go to the right and indicate an older bid package. It doesn't have to be the one immediately. It could be for a couple months ago. And say import all of those criteria and the banks in from that old bid package into the new bid package, saving you a ton of work. Okay, so I've seen it import 90 lines and bank, not lines, but banks and criteria. So it'll be handy, but since this is the first month, there are no previous months, so that feature is not available, but it will be. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open this back up. We can get into the bid package. Okay, this is the bid package screen. This is the first screen that you come to. Let's talk about this menu shade at the top, this whole dark blue area. This is called the menu shade. You'll see this throughout the program as well. You navigate through the program using the mode select. Every screen you need to get to is right here. The bid package, bidding program, the bid card where you send everything. The inserts, this is the old terminology from SubCO. This is going to be changed to cover pages, because that's what the term is going to be now for your inserts, cover pages. View all the pairings right here. So I'm looking at the key pages, and then you close the bid package right here. So please never use the back and forth arrow on your browser, because that's just going to cause a problem. Okay, you open and close the menu shade by clicking right here where it says menu or where it says close. That's how you move it up and down. Okay, so we're looking at the entire bid package. To see the details of a pairing, you just mouse over that pairing and it pops right up. If you're on a tablet, you will need to tap that pairing and the pairing will pop up, and then tap it again to close it. Okay, the entire bid package is here. So as I scroll down, it starts off with domestic, and then it gets to international, then it gets to the language lines, and then it gets to reserve. So the entire bid package is available for if you just want to cruise through and look at things. Okay, so let's talk about the details that are in each one of the lines it's displaying. Look at line 2 right here. The line number is in the top left. Then the number of days off is right here. This feature where it says rest, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but this basically has to do with the overlap, the last trip from the old month into your bid month. It calculates whether you're having a legality issue at the front of the month and let you know what's going on. Credit versus block time is right there. Your time away from base right there. Deadhead hours are right there. Oops. This is your carryover or overlap into next month there. Your estimated paycheck is right there. Holiday pay is right there. Holiday pay is new for SubCO. You can see that the date, the 12th, is in green. That indicates a holiday. I put the 12th as my birthday, so it treats your birthday as a holiday. That's why it's green. Okay, vacation pay is going to be right there. And then this is the crew complement. This line has a crew complement of 6. Okay, the equipment that's on the line, whether it's domestic or international, and whether it's a purser line or if it's FSL, the flight service leader. Okay, so that's all the information for every line you can find right here. Okay, so now I'm going to open up the menu shade and we're going to navigate to the next screen. Does anybody have any questions about this bid package screen, this first screen, before I move on? All good? Okay, we're going to navigate to the mode select, through the mode select to get to the next screen. So go right down to the bidding program screen. All right, this is the bidding program screen. We've designed this so you don't have to open up a bunch of windows all over the place and go 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 layers deep. So this is where you're going to spend the bulk of your time. Do a quick tour. The calendar up here, you can select days on and off. This operation up here, this is for reserve and no reserve. We actually just found out the reserve feature is not selecting lines right now, so we're going to have that fixed by the end of the day. But that's where you would select the reserve lines. That's one way to do it. There's actually 3 different ways to do it. Domestic, international, both, and FSL. So these buttons basically tell the computer which lines to include in the search. This is not a search feature by itself. It defaults to both, but if you only want to see international lines, then you would click here. Only domestic, here. If you're FSL qualified and you want to see which lines are FSL, then you would click here. And that's what it'll pull up. Otherwise, you can still search by days off and trips and everything else. Okay, down here is the criteria selection. We'll cover that. And then the bottom right is the banks area. And just to the left of that is how you sort the lines in a bank. And then the bottom is the setup. So let's go into the setup just real quick. First, we're going to hit the language. The no qualification right here means the non-language qualified. That should stay checked for the bulk of the time. If you only want to search for language, then you would deselect that. But most people, most of the time, would keep that selected. Okay, and then most people would only have one language checked. But for this demonstration, I do all of the languages because I wanted to total, and you'll see why a little bit later. The no qualification, I'll show you what happens when you deselect it. I'm going to deselect that, and then I'm going to go ahead and click submit. And you can see this warning that says language in red pops up. That warning is letting you know you are not being shown all of the available lines, and the reason is because of the language. If you ever see a warning right here, that's telling you go over here to the setup, go to language, and take a look and go, oh, the no qualification is not checked. Let me check that back, and then click submit. Okay, the warning disappears and you're all good. Okay, I'm going to come down here to the legalities, and this is where that is set up. We'll come in and visit this again in a little more detail, but that's that end of the month situation I was telling you about. We'll come back to the setup again, go to personal information. This is where I entered my birthday. That's how it knows it's a holiday. Enter the pay rate. Okay, the incentive pay, you can leave it 0 most of the time. That incentive pay is for those of you that are managed to fly over 200 hours in a quarter. Then you qualify for incentive, and then you come in here and enter that incentive rate so it would help to calculate it. Again, it's just an estimated paycheck, but it'll give you an idea. So as you're playing, if you see these astronomical paycheck amounts, that's probably what's going on. Come in here and check and make sure there's not something in the incentive pay. Then this bottom one is for FSL or Purser or a language or whatever it is you want to add. Just if you want to throw a couple bucks in for international or something like that, that's up to you. But again, it's just an estimate. Okay, so all right. So we're going to get into the searches. I'm going to take a quick minute and just explain how the strategy and the logic works. BidPlus was designed to search and bid the same way we do as flight attendants. Okay, so imagine yourself sitting at your kitchen table and you've got your papers all spread out, you got your bid package there, and you're doing your bidding. Okay, flight attendants do not open up the bid package and start trying to rearrange all the lines in the bid package. That's called sorting. That's what every other program out there does. It tries to take the whole bid package and rearrange it. Flight attendants don't bid like that. What you do is you start looking, you start searching through the bid package for those lines that you want to fly based on days off or weekends off or 2-day trips or flying to Europe or whatever it is you're looking for. You look through, you search through the bid package first, then you write those numbers down on a scratch pad off to the side. Okay. Then once you've got all those line numbers written down, then you will rearrange them in the order you want to send them to United. That's how we bid. Okay, we don't just start off rearranging everything. So BidPlus works the exact same way. You search through the bid package first, then you arrange what you found. Okay, So we'll show you how you do that. Anytime you add, remove, or change a criteria, it instantly searches. So it's constantly searching every move you make. So let's start with the calendar. If you want to select a particular day off, you click on that day, and that day is going to turn red. And what it's doing is telling the program to search for every line in the bid package that has the 16th off. The result is down here in the bottom left. There's 747 lines that have the 16th off. Okay. That's every line of the bid package, domestic, international, everything. The only thing we ask is 16th off. You click it again to reset it. If you would like to search for every line that has that particular day on, you click once just above the desired date. That date will turn blue, and now the program is searching for every line that has the 16th on. Bottom left, there's 628 of those. Okay, you can do that in any combination that you want. And as long as there are lines that fit the criteria that you're asking for, they'll be selected. The more criteria you ask for, the fewer lines there are that fit all those criteria. Okay, so you can see I've asked for the 14th and 15th to be off, 16th and 17th to be on, and we're down to 151 lines. Okay, to view the lines that you're pulling up, you click close on the menu shade. You can see the 14th and 15th are off for every single line, for all 151 of those lines, and the 16th and 17th are on. Everything else could be on or off. Doesn't matter. The only thing I was concerned about was 14, 15, 16, and 17. Okay, the program, the search is exact. It's not close. It's not kind of, sort of, maybe. I'm suggesting that. No, it either fits or it doesn't, period. It's an absolute search. Okay, and also just real quick, this little number 1 over here, this is my mouse. It's letting you know what line position that I'm hovering over. So you see it move as I move my mouse further down the page. It's just letting me know. So if I'm way down on position 88, I would know that by looking here. It's just letting me know. That's all that is when you see it move. Okay, so I'm going to open the menu, shade back up, and I'm going to reset this. I'm just going to go ahead and click delete. I'll explain this stuff down here in a second, but I'm just going to reset it. There's a faster way to select your days on and off if you use the select all over here on the left. And I'm just going to go ahead and select weekends off. Okay, it popped all the weekends off, did a quick search, and I know there's 161 lines. So if weekends off is the most important thing to me, then I know I have 161 lines in the bid package to work with. Okay, so that's how that part works. And then you can reset them as well here, the bottom. Days clear. I click that, and it resets the calendar. All right, so let's move on to the criteria. Any questions about the calendar first? Everybody good? It's pretty straightforward. Okay, let's move on to the criteria selection. And I'm going to get into the details on these in a little bit, but I'm just going to kind of give you an overview. The 1 and 2 work crew positions, this has to do with position bidding. We'll come back and cover that a little bit. Your day trips, 1 through 6 day trips. Okay, so this is pulled dynamically out of the bid package. If you have 7-day trips, that would be showing here. If you didn't have any 6-day, it would not be. So this changes depending on your bid package. Crew complement, that just means crew staffing. So you can say specifically you want to search for base crew, which means crew complement of 3 or more. 1 and 2 are not part of the base crew. 1 and 2 are like the old sub UA extra stew lines or sub CO, the chaser lines. That's what those are. Okay. Where it says San Francisco departure, it doesn't really apply to San Francisco. This would apply to those bases that have co-terminals. So if you're based in Dulles, for example, you might fly out of Reagan, you might fly out of Baltimore, you might fly out of Dulles. All 3 airports would be listed here. Then you could say which one of those airports you want to fly out of. The next one is back-to-back trips, just what it says. You can say whether you want them or not. You bid by deadhead legs. Mid-duty period layover. That means for those long sit times in between flights where it's over 4 hours and the company gives you a hotel, that's what a mid-duty period layover criteria is. You may or may not want that, and you can say so right here. Then the red eyes or all-nighters, those are right there. Okay, moving on to the equipment. You can bid by aircraft, specific or general. You can bid by layovers. This list is pulled right out of your bid package. So if you are looking for a particular layover city, you don't see it, then that base is not flying there that month. The pairings, Okay, if you happen to know of a particular trip, you're looking through the paper bids and you want to know what line that trip is in, then you can use this feature. Then the value searches, this is pretty much everything you can think of. Layovers, check-ins, just anything you can think. We'll cover that towards the end, but this is everything that's available. And then the last category is the regions. So you can cover large swaths of the planet now and say, I want to fly to Asia instead of in particular cities. You can just, all the Asian cities will come up. All the European cities will come up. South America, whatever you're looking for. Okay. So let's go back to the miscellaneous and let's talk about how you actually select your criteria. So remember, it does an absolute search. We're going to use 2-day trips for the example. When you click on a criteria, it creates a statement, plain English. I want all of my line to have 2-day trips. Okay. All means 100%. That means every single trip in the line must be a 2-day in order to qualify. And by the way, this is 2-day calendar trips. I'll explain that in a second. When I click OK, it's going to do a search and let me know there's 122 lines that are 100% all 2-day trips, calendar trips. So when I take a look, you can see some of these are basically fake 2 days. Okay, they arrive. This one happens to arrive at 21 minutes past midnight. It's really a 1-day trip, and because it crosses midnight, it's 2 days on the calendar. The computer says, hey, it's 2 days. I'm pulling it as a 2-day trip. We will be adding a feature, a criteria that says fake 2 days, fake 3 days, so you can eliminate those easier. But right now, what you would have to do is put in criteria, something like the earliest arrival that you want is 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning. Because this gets in at 21 minutes past midnight, it gets in too early for that criteria. If you say, I don't want to see any trips that get in before 4 in the morning, it would eliminate this trip. Okay, so if it's before midnight, it's late. If it's after midnight, that's an early arrival. Okay, so this is actually arriving very early, and that's how you would eliminate it. But we'll make that easier in the future. But anyway, to get back to the point, these are all 2-day trips. Okay, so if you want to change the criteria, you click right on it, and then you go ahead and change. So I'm going to say if I want any of my line to have 2-day trips, remember we had 122 before. Any means if even one occurrence of a 2-day trip is present, it's going to qualify and be selected. So you can see the number jumped up to 197 and was 122. So there's now 197 lines that have at least one 2-day trip in here. I click on it again. If I say none, that means I only want to see the lines that have no 2-day trips. I want no 2-day trips in my results. So it's going to take a little bit longer because there's quite a few. And okay, the result is 1,178 lines that have no 2-day trips. If we were to take a look, you will see no 2-day trips in here anywhere. Okay. And then these quantifiers, if it says at least something, so if it says at least 50%, that means I want at least half my line to be 2-day trips. No more than, I want no more than half my line to be 2-day trips. That's how those work. Okay. What you have to be careful about is you can combine any criteria with any other criteria. So if I said, let me change this back to all 2-day trips. Okay, we've got 122. If I start adding criteria, I'll say I need the 14th and 15th off. The more criteria I add, the fewer lines that meet. But you can tell instantly, as soon as you add a criteria, what effect that criteria is having on your search. The more criteria you add, the fewer lines there are. What you have to be careful about is to create a combination of criteria that does not exist. Because whatever you're asking for, whatever this combination of criteria is, must actually exist in a line someplace for that line to be qualified and selected. So if I was to come over here and say, I want all of my line to have 3-day trips and add it, well, you can see the result is 0. There are no lines that have 100% 2-day trips and 100% 3-day trips in the same line. So if you have conflicting criteria, you're going to end up with 0. Just be careful of that, okay? I delete one of them, and now it's searching normally. I can leave this set. Let me go back to the, change this to 3 days. Okay, I'm searching for all 3-day trips. There's 571 of them. I can leave this criteria here and just go straight to just domestic and see how many there are. Okay, of those 500 and whatever 47, there's 113 of them are domestic. International, I can take a look. Remember, every time you click something, you change the criteria it's searching. 458 of them are international. If I come over here to FSL, Flight Service Leader has 156 lines that are all 3-day trips. Whoops, I clicked the day on, sorry. There we go, 71 lines that are FSL that are all 3-day trips. Okay, so I didn't change this criteria. All I did was change the operation I'm looking for right up here. Okay, a lot of flexibility. All right, so let's come down here and talk about the banks now. The bank is like that scratch pad I was telling you about off to the side. Okay, this is where you store all of those lines that you searched for. Everything I was just doing when I was explaining how the criteria works, all that I was working in Bank 1. Bank 1 is like a scratch pad. You can have an unlimited number of banks with an unlimited number of lines in each bank. Okay, until you've exhausted the bid package. A line can only exist in one place at a time. It's either in the bid package waiting to be selected, or it's been selected into one of the banks. It cannot exist in more than one place, because that would really be a nightmare. Okay, so what I'm going to do is build 4 quick banks here, and I'm going to do it in a way that nobody would ever bid. But I just want to show you can name the banks. And what I did is type it in right here, and I just hit enter on my keyboard, or you can click save bank name. I'm going to click add new and add a new bank. Click add new, add another bank. And click add new and add one more. Okay, so I've got 4 banks. Weekends off, Mondays off, Tuesdays off, Wednesdays off. Each one of these banks is autonomous. It has nothing to do with any of the other banks. It's like a little mini bid within the overall larger bid. Okay, it's like a little mini scratch pad within the overall larger bid. All right, weekends off, it's got 161 lines in it. If I go take a look at those 161 lines, every one of these will have weekends off. Okay, all 161 of them. You'll also notice that they are arranged in this bank in numerical order. They're in line number order. So let's go to the line number, line 21, then 25, then 29, 31. You can see they're in order of lowest line number to highest. Okay, that is accomplished for weekends off right over here to the left where it says line number. Okay, sort selected lines by default, it's line number. That's the order they come out when you search. I can change that and say, well, these weekends off lines, these 161 lines, sorry, I'm going to mute my own phone. All right. These 161 lines, I don't want them in line number order. I'd like to change that. So I click on line number, and I'm going to change that to something else, to days off order. Okay, so now when I go take a look, here's the days off. This line has 22 days off, then it drops to 21 days off. Then there's a number of them that have 21 days off. And as I scroll down a little bit, still in 21 days, then it drops to 20 days off, etc. So they're now in in days off order. This second line down here allows me to basically break the tie. If I've got several lines that all have the same number of days off, well, I want to further sort those by something else. So in this case, I'm going to choose paycheck. So what we're doing here is saying, I want to sort everything by days off. So that one, 22 days off for this first line is the only one that has 22 days. And I drop down, the next one's got 21, 21, 21. So those are further sorted by the ones that has the highest paycheck of the 21 days off is at the top. Okay, so that's how that works. Any questions about that? This is actually one of the first webinars I've had of this size. and had to mute everybody. So it's kind of unusual tonight to get the feedback. So if anybody's out there, just give me a shout that you can still hear me. That'd be great.
I can hear you.
Okay, just want to make sure.
I can hear you.
Okay, just want to be sure.
Great information.
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. All right.
We can hear you and we love you.
And I love you.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. So
Going to mute.
all right, so you can see that you have the ability to sort the lines within each bank. Let's go to the Mondays, and I might sort those by holiday pay. And I'll go to the Tuesdays bank, and I might sort those by, who knows, carryover. Whatever you want to sort it by. Okay, that's how you do it automatically. Now let's talk about how do you do it manually. So if I go to the Wednesdays off bank, it's by line number by default. I go take a look, and I'm reviewing the lines. And I get down here to line 54 and I go, hey, this is a great line. I wish I could move it higher up. How do I move it? Okay, you would click right over here where it's on the line number itself on the top left. I click that and it highlights the line. Okay, now that line is highlighted, you can see these little thin blue lines in between each line of flying. That's your target. If you click on one of those thin lines, that's where that line 54 is going to go. So I can put it all the way in first place. I can put it at the end of the bank, wherever. But whenever you click on that spot, I just clicked. I just moved 54 up to the first position. So again, to review, the way you move a line, 2 clicks. You click on the line number to indicate it. Then you click where you want to put it. Okay. You can do that with several lines. I can click here and maybe this one here. And I want to move them all up to the top even. So those 3 lines I just selected, I just moved them up to the top. So now you understand how to arrange the lines in a bank. First, you know what a bank is. You know how to arrange the lines in a bank automatically, and you know how to arrange them manually. Okay, so let's take it a step further. What if I want to just handpick my lines, select them? I don't want to use the criteria. I just want to look through and select some. How do I do that? Okay, let's go back to the bid package screen, the very first screen we started with. We'll give it a second to build the line. Okay, we'll close that menu shade. And now we're just going to scroll through and take a look and go, hey, I like that line right there. That's great. I'm clicking right on the line number itself. And I'm just choosing some lines, and I'm now bidding manually. You can pick as many as you want. Okay, so I'm just going to pick a few. All right, so now let's navigate back to the bidding program. Now I want to point something out. I have selected those lines. I have not done anything with them yet. They've been highlighted and they're waiting. When you have selected lines, this feature right here at the bottom pops up that says selected lines. It's giving me the option to do something with those lines. Okay, I can cancel the operation, or I can delete them. They're already in the bid package, so if I delete, it's the same as cancel right now. But you only see this feature when you have lines selected. Okay, so using the technique I was just talking about a little bit earlier, those selected lines that I have not done anything with yet, I can put them to any one of these banks. So for example, in the Tuesdays off bank, if I open it up, you see these little thin blue lines are still there. My targets are still there. That's letting me know if I click on one of them, all those selected lines in the bid package are now going to be put into the Tuesdays off bank. So if I was to click, that's where they would go. Or I can go ahead and add a brand new bank. There's no search criteria. It's empty. It's just a new bank. I'm going to go ahead and close the menu shade. You can see it's blank. There's nothing in this bank, but there's that thin blue target line. If I click anywhere above that target line, which I just did, all those handpicked lines just got put into bank 5. Okay, that's how you manually select your lines and put them wherever you want. I happen to put them into bank 5. Okay, those are my handpicked. That's what I'm going to call that bank. Okay, so now you can also arrange the banks themselves. Handpicked is highlighted with these up and down buttons to the right. So those 8 handpicked lines, I just moved up to first place. Okay, so you can do that with any one of these banks. I'll move them back down to the end here. Okay. You can also merge the banks together. If you were to highlight several and click the merge button, it would combine those 3 banks that are highlighted into one. The name would be whatever the highest bank in the hierarchy is. So it would be called Tuesdays Off, but it would contain Wednesdays Off and handpicked lines as well in the same order that they're in, all in the same bank. Okay, so you have to have a good reason why you'd want to do that, because you kind of lose your flexibility when you merge your banks and you cannot unmerge them. So have a good reason. We've got one member that prior to the regions, this regions feature is new, but prior to that, what he would do is he liked to fly Asia. So bank 1 would be Narita, bank 2 would be Taipei, bank 3 is Hong Kong, etc. Each bank would be a different Asian city. Then he would combine them all together and merge them, and then he would sort them by paycheck. So he didn't care where he flew, as long as he flew to Asia and it was a trip that paid him the most. That's how he used the program. Okay, so you have to have a good reason why you would do that. Otherwise, just leave that alone. All right, so now you know how to select criteria. And we're going to come back in and do more detailed work, but I just want to get through this part. You know what the banks are, how they work. You know how to select lines. You know how to edit the lines in a bank. So any questions about that? Because I'm going to move on to the bid card now. All good? All right. So with the mode select, we're going to navigate to the bid card screen. All right. This is the bid card screen. This is your last stop before you upload your bids. And again, I want to apologize that the upload is not working. That was a CCS issue. I just won't go into details. It's in the newsletter. That'll explain the details. It's unfortunate, but we've always been able to upload. This is the first month in our history we have not been able to, so it's very disappointing for us. But that's also why we decided to take care of the service this month and not charge anybody. Okay, so we are on the bid card screen. Your bids are going to be submitted from left to right, top to bottom, just like you see them. And when you want to see the details of a particular trip, you just click here. It's displayed right at the top, and you can still mouse over or tap the pairings to see them. Okay, and you still have your details over here of what type of line we're looking at. To see which lines are in which banks, right over here, you click this drop-down list. This is why we name the banks, so they make sense. We understand what we're looking for. If I click that Wednesdays Off, then the Wednesdays Off bank highlights. I know these are all the lines in the Wednesdays Off bank.
Nice.
Okay, if I click on one of those lines, I know weekends. I meant all these lines are going to have weekends off. Okay, so if you would like to insert, I'm going to turn that off. Well, I'm going to go back to Mondays off. You can see the next one is Mondays, etc. So you understand how that works. Okay, if you would like to insert a line for whatever reason, you saw it in the paper bids, and go, how did I miss it? Oh, good morning. All right. Can't miss that call, huh? If you want to insert a line, you would put the line number in right over here where it says manual line entry. So what I'm going to do is insert a reserve line, just for example. Okay, you type the line number in, and then wherever you click on the bid card is where that line is going to go. I just inserted a reserve line. Okay, so you can insert one line, or you can insert several lines separated by commas. Wherever I click, that's where they would go, as long as they're not already in the bid card. If they're already in here, it's not going to rearrange it. It's going to leave it where it's at. Okay. You can also insert a range of lines. Okay. Line number, dash, line number, no spaces. And then you could insert, it's like a block bid, except it doesn't just do 50-100. It's literally going to put line 50, then 51, then 52, etc. It's going to move them all over 50 spaces. Okay, but you can do it with one click. It does it instantly. Okay, and then you can also enter a relief by just typing RLF and then popping it in there wherever you like. Okay, so that's how you do the manual line entry. Okay, now let's talk about editing the bid card. By default, you're on view mode right down here. Okay, we can change that to select mode. This allows us to start editing. When I'm in select mode, now I go select something. I'm going to select that reserve line that I had. Now when I select it, that line gets highlighted. And notice two more features pop up. saying, what do you want to do with that line you just selected? Do you want to delete it, or do you want to insert it someplace? In this case, I want to delete it. So I'm going to click right on delete. I get a little confirmation. You want to delete it? You sure? Yep. Boom, it's gone. Okay, I'm still in select mode. So let me select a couple lines here and move them. I really like that line. I like this line. I like that line. They don't have to be next to each other. And I just want to move those lines up to the front because they're great lines. How do I do that? Okay, I just selected them all. Now I'm going to click insert this time. Okay, this is again a confirmation. Click where you want to insert your lines. Okay, well, I want to put them right up here in first place. So if I click on the left side of line 40 and click, it just popped them in there, and it popped them in the same relative order that they were in before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's how you edit. You now know how to edit the lines in the bid card. If you start moving stuff around and you start going down the rabbit hole and just going, I don't know what I did and I'm confused, how do I reset it? Right over here, reset to original bid card. You click that one, confirmation, you're going to lose your editing. Yep, I'm good. And it just put the bid card back so you can start again. Okay, if you want to clear your bid card, you click right here to clear the bid card. It confirms it and it takes everything away. The only time you would really do this is if you're buddy bidding, and that feature is not available right now. We'll be adding that in, but we just ran out of time to get it ready for this. But your buddy would have to be a BidPlus member as well. Then when you click Get Buddy's Bids, it would open up two more fields. One is where you put your buddy's employee number, and the other one is the buddy password that you both agreed on. And then when you click Get Buddy's info to import it, it would basically do the same thing as the kind of the reset, and it would import your buddy's bids right into your bid card. It would look just like this. So nice, easy, fast way for you to buddy bid or parallel bid, or however you want to use that. Okay, any questions about anything I've showed you about editing the bid card? All good? All right, let's move on to everybody's favorite, position bidding. Yeah. All right. So before I go here, what I want to do is go back to the bidding screen, the bidding program screen, because I want to talk about the crew positions here. There's 1 and 2 work crew positions. This is something new for everybody, both sub, CO, and UA. It used to be that the base crew would contain maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people. Okay. It's no longer like that. Your base crew is only going to be a size of between 3 and 6. That's it. Okay. Everything else, all the other positions are going to be 1 and 2 position lines. And those 1 and 2 position lines, if you're not part of the base crew, those 1 and 2 position lines are pre-assigned your work position. You do not position bid a 1 or 2 position line. Okay, so I just want to be real clear about what's going on with that. The 1 and 2 position lines already have a work position pre-assigned. So if you happen to be, you bid and you get one of those 1 or 2 position lines, your work position comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what you would have to do while you're bidding, if you were doing this with paper, you'd have to go back to that matrix that they gave you, and you'd have to look up the pairing range, then you'd have to look up the equipment, then you'd have to look up the position that applies. It would be a nightmare. I don't know how you do that manually, but that's the way it's set up. So we did all that nightmare work for you ahead of time. If you saw the code behind this feature, oh my God, there's a big hole in my office wall where my head fits really nicely because it was insane to take their matrix. We had to create an even bigger matrix to boil all this down. So what we're doing is tracking every piece of equipment, every flight number, every destination, every line, and we cross-reference all of that stuff inside this matrix. So all you have to do is come in and say, show me all the lines that are forward galley. Okay, and it's just giving me a warning I'm messing with the handpicked, okay? And it just did a search, and those are all the lines right now that are in the forward galley. Okay, so you don't have to go through and determine that. It just did it with a click. So all of these positions are pre-assigned to the 1 and 2 position lines. And I just want to let you know how this part of it worked. Okay, so we can, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Oh, it's not going to matter. I'll leave it. So now let's go back to the bid card. And I wanted to explain that part of it because when you come in here and you're position bidding, all we're concerned about with position bidding is the base crew. We're not concerned with those 1 and 2 position lines. I want to make that distinction. So this first line that we're looking at, line 40, right over here, you can see it is base crew 3 position line. That's the crew complement. Okay, so let's see how we apply positions. I'm going to go ahead to the drop box. I'm going to put in purser. I'm going to put in FA1. I'm going to put in FA2. Okay, I'm going to apply it right down here to the one displayed line. That's that one right there. And I'm going to click apply. Very simple. We go take a look. Now it's 40 purser, 4001, and 4002. We've reduced the FA01 and the PUR and all that stuff to 2 characters, but that's what it means. Okay, so it just applied the positions to that line. Okay, so let's take it a step further. What if I want to apply these positions to that whole bank? Well, let me come down here and say I want to apply these positions, apply it to the current active bank. So let me make that selection. So I have to activate a bank so it knows which bank to apply it to. So I'll go ahead and activate that first bank. Okay, now I'm applying these 3 positions to the current active bank, and I'm going to click apply. Okay, now let's go take a look and highlight it. Now, 40 is got all the positions. The way the program is working right now, and this is just a small distinction, but don't get your mind too twisted about this. This is a 1 position line, 288. I'm sorry, it's a 2 position line. The program, because it's domestic, just the way the code is, it applied positions, but it's benign. It means nothing because the 1 and 2 position lines have their work positions predetermined. So by applying a position to a 1 or 2 position line in this feature does nothing. Okay? So don't get confused about that.
Okay.
Line 5161 is an international 1 position line. Just because of the code, it did not apply a 1 or 2 position here, but it does not matter. It's still benign. It's the same result. This line has a work position predetermined. Okay, so the domestic did get it applied. The international didn't, but they're the exact same thing. Doesn't matter. Okay, so don't get confused about that.
Well, I already am.
Okay, what are you confused about?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean, I'm talking to myself. I'll mute.
That's right. Ignore yourself.
Okay,
We'll be good.
I am.
So Skip, I have a question.
Okay.
This is Tom. So since we're manually entering these, how would you manually enter that? Would that be just
you would just put the line number.
Line number with
just
no 01 or 02.
That's correct.
Right.
Okay, thanks.
Uh-huh. Does anybody else have a question about what I've covered with this so far? So you can see how it applied everything. It knows which ones are the 1 position lines and did not apply a position, or, it doesn't get affected. So what if we were to continue this and put in some more positions? 3 and 4 and 5. So let's say this is applied to a 6 position line. Okay, I'm just going to apply it to this 1 bank so we can kind of keep it up here and easier to see. And I'm going to click apply. Okay, and let's see if we can find if there's any 6 positions in here. Okay, right down here, 3014. If we click that, we can see that it's a 5 position line. Okay, so somebody's got some strange noise going on in the background. If you could please mute that, that would be great.
You're unmuted.
Okay, thank you. So 3014 is a 5 position line. I applied 6 positions, purser through 5. Okay, but it knows it's a 5 position line, so it only gave it purser and then 1, 2, 3, and 4, because that's all it gets. Okay, if I could find one in here, I don't see any off the top that happen to be a 6 position line, but it would have up to 5 applied. But anyway, you understand how it's applying. It knows how to apply them appropriately. Again, I'll go back to the first line, which is the
Skip, how do you know it's a 5-position line? Just by looking at it.
Right here at the top.
Where
See where I've got it highlighted? Top right.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
This is the 3-position line we're looking at. That's the crew complement for every line right there.
Sometimes your cursor's before or after you're talking, so it's kind of hard to see it maneuver.
Okay, so, yeah, just let me know if I start getting ahead of you. So if you're missing something, just let me know. I'll go back and repeat it for you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So we're on the line 40, which is a 3-position line. Even though I applied positions through Purser through FA5, it knows this is the 3-position line. That's all it gave it. Okay. So I just want you to know it's applying it appropriately. So what it's also doing, if you look, this is line 40, Purser, line 4001, line 4002. This is grouped by line number. Okay. Line 58, Purser, 5801, 5802. What if we wanted to group it by position? I wanted all the pursers to be first. How do you do that? Well, you come down here. By default, it's grouped by line number. Let's change it to group by position. And we'll leave it so it's just applied to this bank. So it's just easier to see and manage for right now. And then I'm going to click apply position and see what happens. Okay, let's highlight that bank again. Now you can see all of the pursers are moved to the top, followed by all the 01. So you can see 40 is the first one of the pursers. 40 is also the first one of the 01s. And wherever, where is it? Right over here. 40 is also the first one of the 02s. So they're in their same relative order. They're just grouped by position now. Okay, and you can apply this same strategy to the entire bid as well, if you wanted. If you really like to bid purser first. Excuse me real quick, I'll grab a drink. Okay, so we want to apply this to the entire bid. So I'm going to click apply to entire bid, and notice what happens when I do. I've got 2 more features that pop up. Right now, we are basically in a bank structure. I've got this bank highlighted. Everything I've been doing is just to this bank. Okay. I have the option of applying this same strategy and treat this like one big bank. So instead of the pursers being first, then 01, then 02, just for this bank, and if I was to apply it to the whole bid and I kept it in the bank structure, then the next bank, it's going to do the same thing. That next bank's going to start with purser, then 01, then 02, then the next bank, purser, 01, 02. That's the bank structure. I want to treat it like one big bank. Okay, so I'm going to click here and apply the positions. Now for the entire bid card, I have all of the pursers for the whole bid card are first. In the same order, followed by all of the 01s. In the same order, followed by all of the 02s, etc. That's how you apply it to the entire bid and treat it like one big bank. Is anybody confused about that? Good? Okay. All right. So that's basically how the position bidding works. I've got one more feature in here to show you. So I'm going to go ahead and actually, let me clear all of the positions. Okay. And you can apply them to a particular aircraft if you want. Now, a lot of the lines are mixed. So, you know, it's a little tricky. It depends on if you want to do it or not. It's up to you, but the feature is in here. So I'll put those same positions in purser, FA1, FA2. I'm going to apply it just to the active bank again, just so for demonstration purposes, so we can follow along. And this time I'm going to apply it to a specific fleet. So I get this list of fleets. And I'm going to go 757s. The option between the two is no mixed lines or include mixed lines. There are very few pure 757 lines. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose the include the mixed. Okay, so I'm going to apply these positions to all the aircraft, the 757 aircraft that are in this bank. Okay, when I click apply, now let's go take a look at what it did. So again, line 40 has got 757s in here someplace. I think actually they're going to be, there we go. So it knows there's 757, so it applied it. Okay. Let's find one of these others. Those are one position lines. Trying to see if there's a, there we go. There's a 5 position line. The crew is 5, but it does not have any positions applied to it. That's because there are no 757s in this line. Okay, so it knows which lines have the 757s and it applied them if that's what you want to do. It's just an option that's there. Okay, does anybody have any questions? That's the basic bid on how BidPlus works. And then when you're ready to upload, you would click on upload your bids. The next screen for uploading would look pretty much identical to this, except on the left side, you would have all your options for adding your buddy bid, opting to 100, reserve move up, all those things that you have options for would be over here on the left. And at the bottom of it would be a button that says send bids. You click that and your bids are sent to CCS just like they appear on this bid card in the order. Okay, and on the right side, instead of this, you would see, it would actually, you would watch the activity of the upload, and then it would give you a screenshot of your final bids uploaded or confirmation, so you could see what's going on. And that's how the upload would work. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about what I've covered?
Yes, Skip, this is Bernard.
Yes, Bernard.
You're saying that the upload feature right now, upload bids feature, is not working. Am I correct?
That's correct. It's
so
a
we have
CCS
to do
issue.
it manually. We
You
read
do.
the bid on the bid card and enter it in CCS manually. Is that what you're saying?
That is correct.
Okay.
And that's why this month is not being charged. And it is a CCS issue. Again, their design is just too slow. Because BidPlus, like I said, we upload 1,500 lines in about 8 to 10 seconds. With them, we couldn't upload 500 lines. It took 13 minutes. It's just not workable. If we were to use that mechanism right now, this would get so backed up and people would be losing their minds. You'd have to sit and wait for somebody else to upload, 1,500 lines. It's going to take them an hour and a half while you wait. So they have to improve that side of the system. That's what we're waiting for. And we're working with them on it, but first month, so we're doing our best for you.
This is Bernard again, a follow-up question. So when we enter in CCS, we have to enter it exactly the way it's written in the bid card. For example, the first line, number 40, parenthesis, PU for purser, close parenthesis. Is that it?
Yeah, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the CCS bid screen, but you would have to you have to click into the field. You have to click there 3 times. You type in 40, then you tab over to the position field, and you would select the position, purser or whatever.
Okay.
Okay, and then you go to the next line and keep doing the same thing.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, and part of the problem too is after 50 lines, you have to actually click a plus at the end of the line to create the next line in order to enter. It's pretty hideous actually, but that's what makes it so slow. So anyway, we won't harp on that. So I'm going to go ahead and return back to the bid program screen so we can get into some of the other features here. All right, so I'm going to delete everything here. And by the way, if you can click and delete an individual bank by highlighting that bank and click delete, and just that bank will disappear. If you click delete all, then all of the banks are going to disappear and you get to start all over. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just click that 16th off again for a quick demonstration here, and I'm going to go down to the legalities feature. I'm going to setup down in the bottom right and legalities. We took a look at this a little bit earlier. Let's get into the detail. So this has to do with the last trip in the old month that overlaps or carries over into your current bid month. What you're going to do is tell the computer what that situation is so it can tell you whether there's a problem or not. So what we did was tell the computer that last trip overlaps into the bid month by 2 days. Okay, the end of the duty time is at 10:30 at night, and I had a 13-hour flight time, and it was an international trip because it calculates there's a certain amount of rest you need depending on the flight time and whether you're domestic or international. Okay, so this first selection is saying, select all lines, just provide an advisory, meaning just let me know what's going on, but don't block anything. Okay, so when I click submit and we take a look, give it a second. Okay. So when we look at those lines, those 747 lines that are there, that's what this red display is. So this first one, remember I said that it overlaps by 2 days? Well, there's no direct conflict. There's no trip in the first 2 days. But I also said we get in at 10:30 at night. So it takes a look at this first pairing. Well, this leaves at 6 in the morning. That's an illegal rest. It calculated that and it displayed it here and let you know you've got a problem with this line. The next one's a carryover. I mean, there is a direct conflict. There's a trip on the first day. All right, so that's what these warnings are. They're just letting you know. It's not blocking anything. It's just letting you know that's what's going on with the trip. So if you set that up ahead of time, then it'll help keep up while you're bidding. Okay, let's go back to that legalities. The second option says block all those problems. I don't even want to see them. You deal with it. Okay, so when you do that, remember we had 747 lines. Well, now it dropped to 410 lines because we said block the problems. Also, remember you got a warning now in the menu bar saying legal. You have a legality issue going on, and it's a warning that means you're not being shown all of the available lines. And the reason is because of this legality feature. So if I close the menu shade and take a look, it's gotten rid of all the trips that have a problem, all the lines that have a problem. So I don't have to worry about it. Okay, and the last option is just the opposite. I only want to see the ones that do have a problem. When I click submit, again, I'm not being shown all of the lines. I'm down to 337 lines now. I'm not being shown everything because of this issue, but when I take a look, every single one of these lines is going to have a problem. That's what I wanted because I'm using it as a strategy now because I want to drop that first trip of the month. Okay, so this is how you can utilize that feature. Yeah, question?
Yes. If your last leg is a deadhead, then do you put 0 in that criteria?
Well, you'd have to think about how that's going to affect your legality. Is it, you know, if it still counts, you still need that legal rest. Even if it's a deadhead, then you would want to put that in here.
But do you put the flight time, or do you put 0 for that last in the setup box?
Well, think about, is that last flight going to be critical to determining your legality for the next trip? If you're deadheading, if you get in, you still need that rest even though you're deadheaded. If you deadheaded for 13 hours, would you need the legal rest, or would you be legal to fly that first trip if it checked in at 6 in the morning?
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you need to calculate that rest, then yes, I would add the flight time in there. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to go back in there and reset that to the first one. So now you know when you're seeing that display, that's where it's coming from. But when I reset it, notice that the legality, the legal warning, in just a second, that disappears. And now I'm being shown all along. We're back to 747 lines. Okay. Let's go back to the setup and look at vacation. Okay. This is the vacation feature. And I'm just going to go ahead and pop a vacation in here. I think you need a minimum of 7 days to have a minimum block for vacation. So I'm going to pop 2 7-day vacations in my line. Okay. And I click submit. Now, we've just told the program what our vacation looks like. That's all we did. Right from here, we can go ahead and bid as normal. It's not blocking anything from happening. Okay, but most people would like to extend their vacation. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to use one of the criteria down here in the value searches. When every line in the bid package has a certain amount of credit time. Could be 79 hours, could be 85 hours, whatever it is. They have a certain amount of credit time. But every line in the bid package has at least 1 hour of credit time, right? So if I was to use this criteria, credit time minimum, what's the minimum credit time I'm looking for? I want a minimum of at least 1 hour of credit time. Well, why would I do that? I'm going to click OK and let it search. Because every single line has at least 1 hour of credit time. I'm telling the program I want to include every single line into bank 1. Okay, so if you can see down here in the bottom right, 1375 out of 1375. I want every line in the bid package in bank 1. Why would I do that? Because I want to arrange them. I'm going to come over to the sort, and one of the options here is the vacation extension to start, end, and total. So start means maximize the front of the month, end, maximize the end of the month, total, overall. So I'm going to click that and give it a second to do that. and then we'll take a look at the result. All right, so it's done, and we close the menu shade and take a look. All the pairings that touch your vacation turn green, and you don't have to fly them. So bidding during your vacation month can take you as little as 10 seconds once you understand what's going on. So this is pretty cool, because you imagine trying to do this manually. It would take you a long time. Any questions about that? Nope.
Okay, I have a question real quick on that.
Sure.
Okay, so then on the 4th, it's knocking that trip off. It's knocking the 11th off. And so all you're going to have left, you're not going to have anything left, right?
Correct.
It's even touching Dulles. Okay. All right,
Yep.
And then can you do that by 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, and 1 days?
Well, you don't want to try to, if you try to do that yourself, if you're trying to say to do it by 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, what you're doing is trying to do the work that the computer should be doing.
Okay.
Because it can be more efficient than you can.
Okay.
Okay. It knows what trips it needs to put in here in order to extend your vacation. You're guessing, 3-day trips or 5-day trips is going to do a better job. And the computer's like, no, I know better because I know where they're arranged on the line.
Okay.
Okay. So it's also any trip that is in the vacation and turns green it's no longer in consideration or being considered when you enter criteria. So if you're saying, if you only had one of these vacation periods in here and you said, I don't want to see any 2-day trips, for example. Well, you may have a 2-day trip in that vacation because it's using it to extend the vacation, but it's ignoring it in terms of you asked for no 2-day trips. Well, it's going, you're not going to fly that 2-day trip anyway. So I'm going to put it in your vacation to help extend your vacation. So, the computer can do it better than you can. So just understand that part of it. And we did realize that there is one bug we're working on today on some of these up here in the days off where it says 15 in black. That's the original days off. And then 27 in green. That 27 is off by a day, I think. So we're looking at that because it should actually for this one be 30 because that whole month is off. So just know that we're aware of that bug. All right.
Why are the two 189 and 194? Why is the rest on?
Because that part of it, it's still calculating, even though it's that part of the feature is still considering those first trips. But because you're not going to be flying the trips, then you can ignore that rest.
Okay.
It's just calculating that when you got in by here at 10:30 at night on the 2nd, after 13 hours of flying, it just knows you would not be legal for this. But also, the bigger picture is you wouldn't be flying it at all.
It's going to knock it off anyway.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So any questions? Yeah, go
Skip,
ahead.
This is Tom. Can you show an example where you can maximize your vacation pay? So you want the most trips on your days that you're not on vacation. Yeah.
Well, just understand that your vacation pay, you're paid 5 hours per vacation day?
Well, I don't mean that. I mean, I want to select trips that are on my non-vacation days. I want the computer to select trips for me on my non-vacation days. So therefore, I'll be maximizing my total pay on my vacation month or vacation period.
So let's take a look and see what happens.
Is there a way to do that?
This. Yeah, I'm going to sort by paycheck now for that bank instead of by vacation extension. And let's just see what happens there. Okay, so now it's putting trips outside of your vacation. Your vacation's still there, but it's going, if you're more concerned about pay than you are about extending, then here's the line that's going to pay you the most.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a question?
What did you hit for that?
Yeah, can you go back one more time to show that, please?
Sure. For Bank 1, instead of vacation extension, which was the first example, he wanted to know, well, I'm not really interested in extending the vacation. I want to see the ones that pay the most. Okay. So instead of sorting by vacation extension, I'm sorting by paycheck. Okay, so that's the order we're looking at now. The one with the highest paycheck is at the top.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Also, one quick caveat. For those of you that like to do a fly-through on your vacation, you're going to work right through your vacation, then don't enter vacation period. because the computer, if you enter a vacation period, you're telling the computer, I want that vacation. So if you want to fly through the vacation, then just don't even put it in. Okay, you still have your vacation, but the computer's going to get confused. If you put it in there and then you're saying, I'm going to fly through it, it's like, well, which one do you want to do? Because computers are dumb. They only know yes, no, on or off. So just leave, if you're flying through, just leave that vacation off. Okay.
May I ask a quick question?
Sure.
And it may be my stupidity. So
no dumb questions. It's okay.
The vacation that I have for October, I did not put in an official fly through for it. So in other words, it's going to still be out there in my line world.
Okay.
I'm sub-CO. Typically, if we had not touched it with a fly through, it would automatically drop off trips. That will no longer happen.
Well, that's a function of CCS. That's not a function of BidPlus.
Okay.
So BidPlus doesn't know about those rules. It just says, you're bidding as if you were sitting at your kitchen table and bidding. Whatever that strategy is, that's what BidPlus is doing.
Okay. I think we just have to be a little bit mindful of it.
Yeah, you would have to know. Yeah, you'd have to know your own situation.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure. Does anybody else have a question about vacation before I move on? All good? All right. I'm going to go ahead and reset this. And then we're just going to get into a couple of the features, and then we'll be wrapping it up here. All right. And let's just delete everything here. So let's talk about, let's see, we talked about the crew complement. Let's go down here to the value searches, some of these. So let's start off with this carryover. This now is talking about the back end of the month, going into next month. That's the carryover. If I select carryover max, that does not mean I want to maximize my carryover. What that means is I need to tell the computer what is the maximum that I will accept. Okay, so I'm going to put in here the maximum that I'll accept is nothing. I want no carryover. I want 0 hours of carryover max. Okay, so when I click OK, does a quick search. Take a look. All of the lines selected will have 0 carryover. Okay, let's highlight that criteria and change it to carryover minimum. Okay, now I'm going to put in here, just like the 1 hour of credit time minimum, I could put 1 hour of credit time here. I could even do 1 minute if I want, 0.01 hours of carryover minimum. That means I'm looking for all of the lines that have at least 1 minute of carryover. I want to see everything that carries over. And I not only want to see the ones that carry over, I want to arrange them by carryover, most to least. So what I'm doing is searching by carryover, and I'm also arranging by carryover. Now when I go take a look, every single line that's been selected has carryover, and the one with the most carryover is now at the top. Okay, just want to let you know that that was available. So let's delete that. City pass-through. So this means if you're based in San Fran, for example, and you hate flying through Chicago in the wintertime because you always get stuck, then you can say, I want none of my line to pass through Chicago, and make that one of your criteria. Okay, credit time, minimum and max. That's pretty self-explanatory. Daily duty time max, explanatory. Days off, earliest check-in by date. So if you're a commuter and you're like, I don't mind flying on a particular day, I just can't check in any sooner than, and you put the time in and you put the date in. Then if a trip happens to start on that date, then it won't check in before a certain time. So for example, you're saying, I don't want to check in before 1 on the 19th. Okay, and I'll put that in here. Okay, so it's not really, it'll pull up all the trips, but if something happens to be on the 19th, I didn't say whether that day is on or off. I just say if there happens to be a trip on the 19th, I want to see that. So I can actually steer that and say, I'm going to make the 18th a day off. Wait a second. And I'll make the 19th a day on. And by doing that, I'm forcing the trip to start on the 19th. 18th is a day off. If the 19th is the day on, then the trip has to start on the 19th. I said, I don't want to check in before 1 o'clock. So let's take a look and see what happened here. The 18th is a day off. The trip starts on the 19th, and the check-in, you can see, is after whatever time I said, 1 o'clock. So you can direct the program kind of to tell it exactly the configuration you're looking for. Okay, earliest mid-trip departure means you're on a layover. Again, you're based in the West Coast. You're flying east. You hate to get up at 4 in the morning. So you can say earliest mid-trip departure. I don't want to see that anything before 9. You know, if you just want to do that, it's in there. Earliest return, holiday pay, pairing credit, all self-explanatory. Latest check-in, latest return by date. Same thing for a commuter. You can specify just like the example I just did. Layover length minimum, that applies to all the pairings in your line. Layover location by date, so that's kind of cool. So again, I'll just use Chicago again just because it's easy. But if I said I wanted to see all the trips that lay over in Chicago on the 20th. Okay. We'll take a look. There's all the trips that lay over in Chicago on the 20th.
Wow.
So that's kind of cool. Legs per day. So you can say, hey, I don't want to fly more than 2 or more than 1. I want nonstops and put 1 leg a day max. Paycheck, per diem, sit time, time away from base, and trip length in between. So this trip length in between means you can say like between the 10th and the 20th, I only want to see 2-day trips. Okay, so it's in there. If you just want to get that detailed, you can.
Hey, Skip.
Uh-huh.
I don't see the criteria where it says by flight loads. Could y'all add that?
By flight loads.
I'm kidding.
I only want to fly empty trips, please.
Yes, please.
And I want to sit in first class while I'm deadheading with my right little finger out.
Yeah,
my little finger
try
pinky.
To work on that.
You got it.
Right, right.
You got it.
How many criterias can you have?
You can have as many as you want as long as it's still producing lines. So you can get as detailed as you want. So that brings up a good point. Let's talk about the clone feature. Okay, so let me just go ahead and build a criteria here. I'll say I want all of my line to have 3-day trips, and I want 11th, 12th, 13th off. Okay, and I'm going to go down to value search, and I want earliest check-in to be noon. Let's just see what it looks like. Down to 84 lines. Okay, and I'll come down here and I'll say legs per day, I just want 1. Okay, down to 80 lines. You can see it's dropping the more that I add. And I'll go to miscellaneous and I'll come down to red eyes and I'm saying I don't want any of those. So I just keep adding criteria. The more criteria I add, the fewer lines. So I'll say this is bank 1. Okay, so now I can go ahead and click add new. It clears everything out and I can start a whole new group of criteria for bank 2. The smarter way to do it, let me just go ahead and delete bank 2. Okay, I've got bank 1. What I want to do instead is click clone. What clone does is bring all the same criteria that was in the previous bank and it puts it in the bank 2. Exact same criteria. But you can see that the result is 0. The reason it is, yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
If I delete a bank, do I lose those lines permanently?
Those lines will go back to the bid package, waiting to be selected again. If you delete a bank, everything in that bank will move right back and they can be selected into another bank.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So I've just clicked the clone feature. Okay, I created a new bank 2. It's got the same exact criteria that bank 1 does, except the result is 0. And the reason is because all of the lines that fit this combination of criteria have already been selected in the bank 1. There are no more. I would have to change something in order to produce more lines for bank 2. So let's see what that looks like. So if I was to change and say, well, I really want my birthday off, but, you know, and the days around it, but what happens if I drop the 11th? Up, I get 21 more lines. Okay, so I'm going to clone again. And this time I'll put the 11th back and I'll drop the 13th. And I get 10 more lines. I'll clone again. And this time I'll say instead of all 3-day trips, I want any 3-day trips. Okay, and click OK. I get just 1 more line. and I'll clone again. So you see what I'm doing is I start with my dream bid in bank 1. Then I clone and I start loosening up the criteria for each successive bank. Okay, so that allows me to stay in control of the deterioration. So you're searching each bank and you get to control the quality, but you can see I've searched for 65 quick lines that I know fit exactly what I want. That's how the clone feature works. Any questions about that? Nope.
Hold on, Skip.
Uh-huh.
You know, on the United, if we entered a line twice, it would throw you into a misbid in Unimatic. So is it possible in BidPlus to bid a line twice without throwing in a bid?
No. Nope. A line can only exist in one place at a time, and it's never duplicated. It's either in the bid package waiting to be selected, or it is been selected into a bank. That's the only place it would exist.
Great,
okay?
thanks.
Sure.
Skip, this is Tom.
Yeah, Tom.
You spoke about earlier merging banks and why you did not recommend doing that. What is the reason why you don't recommend merging all the banks?
Well, it's not that I don't recommend it. I'm just saying just have a good reason why you would want to.
Okay.
Okay, you can do that, but why would you want to? If you want to merge them and then sort them all, you know, all your criteria in one, that's fine. You can certainly do that. Just be aware you cannot unmerge them once you have.
So once you merge them, then they're not sorted. In other words, bank 1 is no longer your first criteria that's selected.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and delete that one. Yes. So if I was to merge, well, I'll go ahead and merge these, and you can see. If I was to merge these, then all on the right side where it says 65 lines, that's a combination of all 4 banks, right?
Okay.
Bank 4 by itself only has 1 line. Bank 3 only has 10 lines, etc. But all of them together have 65 lines down here at the bottom. So if I was to merge these, I'm going to go ahead and click merge. Okay, now I've still got 65 lines. Everything I selected is now in bank 1. There's no reason not. I mean, you can do that if that's what your strategy is. Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying, just be aware I cannot unmerge them now that I have them merged.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
And then I can take these and arrange them by whatever I want to do. They're still going to be my criteria, and I just arrange my 65 lines by days off now. So absolutely, you can certainly do that. Yes.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
I have a question, Skip. You may have covered this before, but a lot of our lines have 1 and 2 day trips.
Yes.
So you just put 1 and then 2 together? I mean,
if you search for all 1 day trips in bank 1, and then you search for all 2 day trips in bank 2, that's fine. And you can merge them together after you search them. I mean, that's completely fine if that's what you want to do.
So would you just merge them together in bank 1?
If you wanted to, you don't have to. I'm just saying that's just an option. You can leave them separate. You can leave all your 1 day trips in bank 1, all your 2 day trips in bank 2, if you want to do that. If you want to merge them together, you can do that as well. It's your option.
Okay, so you just click when it says all of my line is 3 day trips. You would do 1 day trips and 2 day trips. But it wouldn't be all of my line.
Okay, you lost me.
Okay, well, like I said, a lot of the trips have 1 days and 2 days on the line. Okay,
so let me delete all these. So in that case, instead of all 2 day trips, okay, you can say, I don't want all 2 day. I want at least 30 or 40% of them to be 2 day. Okay, well, the rest can be something else. You can say, you know, I'd like some of them any 1 days, and click OK. So there's 6 lines that have at least 40% 2 days and any 1 days, but that's, you know, you're down to 6 lines, but you can configure it any way you want.
Okay.
Just get in and play with it a little bit. Okay.
And that was under value searches again, right?
That's under miscellaneous 1 and 2 day
trips.
Oh,
that was miscellaneous. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
May I ask a question, Skip?
Sure.
Like an example being a wide body aircraft. Let's just say you want to take a 777 and you want a specific city only. Can you criteriarize each of those different things, and would it populate just that?
As long as what you ask for actually exists
in your drop down, then
it'll pull it up. So it's giving me, there's 332 lines that have all 777s of some type.
Okay.
And then if I go to
pick
the
a
layover
city.
city.
Yeah.
So what city would?
Say Delhi.
Okay, what is that?
DEL.
DEL. Okay, sorry, I don't. So this is San
Oh,
Francisco.
it won't be in the. You know what? It won't be in this bid packet. Let's say Beijing.
Give me the code for that. I don't fly anymore.
PEK.
PEK. That's right. It's Peking. I'm used to the old one.
Come on now, you know that.
Jeez, it's been a while. All right, there you go. So there's 64 lines that are all Beijing and 777s.
Okay, and then we can further criteriarize from that as if we choose to.
Yeah, start adding days off or check-ins or whatever else you want. You can customize it however you want to do that.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So let me show you real quick I've just got one more thing, I believe, and that would be the junk bank technique. Actually, there's two more things. Let me just show you real quick. Say you were looking for, I'm going to keep it simple, weekends off. Okay, so you could select all your weekends off for bank one. Okay, and then you can clone, and all the weekends off lines are taken. But if you start dropping, one weekend here, and then you can clone again, then you can put that weekend back and try something else. That's one way to do it. That would take you a while. Let the computer do the work for you. So let's do it this way. I'm going to go back to the value search, and I'm going to use that same strategy of 1 hour of credit time minimum. Remember what that does? It searches and brings the entire bid package into your first bank. So now the first bank is the entire bid package. Now, instead of doing the individual weekends off, I'm going to let the computer do the work. I'm going to sort by complete weekends off. Okay, so now I'm telling the computer, you go do the work and bring all the lines that have the most weekends off to the top. So we'll give it a second. All right. So now all the lines that have weekends off are at the top. You didn't have to do this bank by bank. Okay, so as I'm scrolling through and looking, I've done this before, and there's actually quite a few. Okay, it's doing its best to preserve weekends off. I didn't specify anything else, international or 3-day trips or check-ins. All I said was weekends off. Okay, so it's still preserving them pretty good as I'm scrolling through.
I've been using BidPlus for 21 years. I love this new feature. It's about time.
Oh, God bless you, brother. All right. So, gosh, there's still a bunch in here. Hang on, I want to do an example here. Well, you can see that it did a good job because these are all weekends off. Hang on. Wow. Okay. So let's say we get down to this line right here. I'll just use this as an example, 261. Okay. It's starting to encroach. You can see that weekend is gone. So as you're looking through here, you can go, okay, everything looks good up to this point. Actually, the line above it, let's do that one, 258. Okay. Everything looks good except now this weekend is gone. And I don't want anything else below this. Everything above that is good. But below this, I don't want. How do I get rid of everything else? Okay, you click right on the line number to highlight that first line that you want to get rid of. Notice the first time you highlight something, it's two-tone in color. We'll go over to the right side to select this line, and every line after this, click here. So I'm just going to click. It just highlighted the whole rest of the bank. Okay, so everything above it, we're keeping. Everything below, we're getting rid of. So I'm going to open the menu shade, and remember I showed you earlier that one feature says selected lines. I can cancel what I just did, or I can delete them. If I click delete, all those highlighted lines are going back to the bid package to be selected later. I could actually create a new bank and paste them all into that new bank if I wanted to. That's an option. But for right now, I'm just going to say these selected lines, I'm clicking delete. So we had 1375. It just dropped it down to 173, but those 173 lines would have all my weekends off. A much faster way of doing it.
Skip, when you showed the weekends off, how come the ones still showed weekends on? There were a couple that still showed it.
Well, that was way down in the list. I was just scrolling general. At some point, it's going to start encroaching. The ones at the top, yeah, I scrolled down to 173 lines. So a couple of them down there are going to start showing some weekends on. But I was just trying to use this as an example. I wasn't being real precise. I was mostly showing you the feature.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So that's how you use that feature. Okay. Let the program do the work. To recap, what I did was 1 hour of credit time. So I pulled all the lines into bank one. Then I sorted them by complete weekends off. That's how I did that. Okay. So the last thing I wanted to show you, let me just cover these real quick. So line number is the default. You can sort by days off. Contiguous days off just means days off in a row. So it doesn't, you're not specifying where on the line. You're just saying, show me the lines that have the biggest block of days off and sort that way, wherever they are in the line. Okay, days off between. So when you do that, you specify days off between whatever, first day and the last day. I sort by the biggest block between those 2 days. Okay. And then days off of the week. So if you need to sort by, you need to have Tuesdays. It's telling me if I do a new search, it's going to search. Okay. I need to have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off because I'm going to school or something. Okay. So sort by those particular days off. So the ones that have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off will be brought to the top. Okay. Let's see, that was days of the week off, weekends off, complete weekends off, number of trips between. Again, you can specify 2 dates and say, you know, sort by fewest trips between these particular dates. The block credit ratio doesn't really apply anymore. That's basically your hard time versus your soft time. On the sub UA side, there were some lines that had a credit of 85 hours. You'd actually only fly 67 hours. That would be the ratio. So that we used to call that the lazy sorting credit, because I want the lines that pay me the most that I fly the least. That's what that was. But now it's pretty much all hard time flying. You can sort by deadhead time, per diem, carryover, paycheck, credit, holiday, and then vacation we covered. Okay, so the last feature that I want to show you is the junk bank technique or garbage bank technique. So when you use that, for example, say there's something you hate to fly. So let's just use, we'll go back to miscellaneous. Say you just hate red eyes. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. I want to select, there's 17 lines that are all red eyes. Don't like them, put them all into bank one, and I'm going to call this bank junk. Oops, if I could spell. Okay, that's my junk bank. Those lines have been locked in. If I just deleted those lines, they go right back to the bid or to the bid package, and they could be selected later. I don't want them even in consideration anymore. So now they're all locked in the junk bank. Now I add a new bank, and I can go ahead and search as I normally would. So let's say I'm searching for 3-day trips. Okay, and I'm looking at the result, and I'm now just reviewing the result. And I'm going, okay, everything looks good, except, oh, this line 145, that's ugly. I don't like that. So I'm highlighting them now, clicking the line number. Everything's good so far. These are a couple that I really don't want, though. So I've got 4 lines here. After reviewing, everything else looks good, but I don't want to see those 4 lines. I'm just going to put those in the junk bank. So I'm going to paste them in the same way I showed you earlier. Click on a target line, doesn't matter where because it's junk. And I just added those 4 lines from the 3-day trips I was searching into the junk bank because I don't want to see them. I'm putting them in the junk bank because if I just delete them, they could be selected later, and I don't want to select them at all. So I just continue to add lines out of my banks as I'm searching into my junk bank. Junk bank gets bigger and bigger. And then when I'm done, I would just delete the junk bank, okay? And then I would go to the bid card, and I know I don't have any junk in my remaining banks. So it's just kind of a strategy to use to make sure that the ugly lines don't ever show up again. Lock them into the junk bank. Okay? Does anybody have any questions for me?
Yes, this is Bernard.
Yes,
I
Bernard.
missed how you entered the vacation days in your calendar.
Okay. The way you do that is right down here in the setup, bottom right. Open that up, vacation. That takes you to the vacation screen. Then you just highlight whatever your vacation happens to be and click submit. And that vacation is highlighted on your calendar.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Yes, hello, Skip. This is Joanne. When you
Hey.
finish bidding,
Hi.
when you finish bidding, and you've got all your banks, does it show you how many positions you've actually bid?
No, that's actually a feature we had. I think it was in sub UA. It was not sub CEO, so it hasn't come over yet, but we will be adding that one back in. With all the change with the combined bidding, there's a couple features that didn't quite make it for this time around, but yes, that's an important one, and that will be added back in.
Okay, so next month, you think?
I hope so. There's a few that we need to get in here, and we've got a bunch of work, so we're trying.
Okay, thank you.
But it's on the list. We've had a few requests. So, that one, the one for fake 2 days and 3 days. And there's also another one where I was thinking about this. When your vacation starts, like on the first or second day of the next month, okay, and you still want to extend it back into this month, there's no way to do that right now. So I was thinking about adding a feature where if you're in the vacation, you would have a feature at the end that says how many or on what day it starts in the new month. My vacation starts on the second day of the new month, the third, and you would check that box so the computer would know to extend it back into this month. So that's another feature that I want to think about adding in. But yeah, we've got a list of things to add, and that is one of them.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Sure, you're welcome.
This is Bernard again. Do you have a tentative time frame as to when the bid upload feature will be functional?
We don't, because that really has to do with United. They've got to fix their end. We're ready to go on our end. Okay. Interfacing with CCS is the problem. It moves so slow, it's really not workable. And you'll see when you have to upload your bids manually, you'll see how much clicking you have to do to enter these lines. It's hideous. So to automate that, we still have to do all that clicking, and it slows things down. After the 50 lines, the initial 50 lines, you actually have to click the plus to create a new line in order to enter your line number. And you enter your position, then you click the plus again, it creates a new line for you to enter your line number. And you keep doing that, and it's really slows things down, even when it's automated. So like
it's on the same line as you're putting. It's not the end of the lines. It's not at the bottom of like the 25 lines where you add the plus sign.
That's correct. There's a plus at the end of every line after the first 50. The first 50 does have all 50 showing. And then after that, line 51, 52, you have to click the plus.
On the same line?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Oh.
So it's really you'll see it. It's so slow. So when we try to automate that, like I said, if you try to upload 500 lines, it takes over 13 minutes the way it's set up now. So we calculated that. If we had 10,000 people trying to upload through BidPlus just 500 lines each, and that would never happen because these bid packages are 1,000 or 1,500 lines. But if you uploaded just 500, 10,000 people did that, it would take 88 days. So it's kind of ridiculous. So that's why. But yes, we are working on it, and we're trying to work with them. We've actually got a much faster way. We'd rather be able to electronically submit the lines to them forget the bid card. We could send them over. You could send 2,000 lines in 1 second if we could do it the way we have the design set up.
May I add a comment?
Sure.
I'm sub-CO, and our bidding system in the past was really elementarily simple.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that you could have been the person that could have created the new options for all of us. I think it would have been elementarily simple again, not like it is now.
Yeah, we've got a very simple design. We're actually working, trying to ask AFA to help out. So if you guys want to put a word in.
I was going to say, tell us what you need us to do, and we'll be out there stumping for you.
If you complain to the company and to the union both and let them know that this is just not workable the way they have it set up, you'll see when you enter and make noise about it, because that's what's going to make them move. They're not going to listen to us. But we have a very simple design that's secure, it's fast, it's eloquent. It just click a button, 1,000 lines are gone in a second. And
I'm not sure they'll listen to us either, but we'll try.
Well, the more noise you make, at least that's what's going to help.
Okay.
But you know what? On the United side, it was simple too. So this is different for all of us. It's just
they made it hard for all of us.
Yeah.
It's a giant step backwards. It really is. We just don't understand that. But we hear you, because it's tough for us too, because we feel bad. This is the first month ever we've not been able to upload. We just don't want that to happen again. Wow. So we're working.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Yep.
So does anybody else have any questions about this? Because otherwise, I want to make sure, did you guys get your credit for attending? Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, this is Jennifer. So my kids go to my ex, so I like to fly Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays. And I've been fiddling around with it for like the last month, and I still get kind of confused because when I put Sundays on, Mondays on, Tuesdays on, it brings up trips that start Friday, Saturday, go into Sunday. But you just kind of did something earlier that I think I might have to do. Can you?
And you want to fly Sunday, Monday?
Yes,
Tuesday?
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3-day trips.
Okay, so I would go put Sundays on.
But see, then it brings up trips that start Friday and Saturday, Sunday as well.
Okay.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Okay, let's start with this and just see what we have to work with. Sunday, Monday's on. Tuesday's on. Okay, so if you want the trip to start on Sunday, I would click the Saturday before off. Okay, but you can see that particular combination, you don't have a lot to work with in this particular bid package.
Yeah, it only comes up with like 1 or 2 lines.
Yeah, so then you have to decide what, even if you were bidding manually, okay, on paper, how would you decide what's next? Right now, you know, you have with Sunday, Monday, Tuesday on, there's only 2 lines that have that absolute sequence.
Sure. Right.
Okay, so you have to say, well, maybe I can drop the Tuesdays. You know.
You did that with doing the 1 hour minimum credit. Didn't you do something like that?
1 hour minimum credit just pulls every line into the bid package, and then you can sort
and then you
by days off. Say you want to have Wednesday through Saturday off, or you can have particular days off that you can sort by.
Okay. And then that's where like the top ones were kind of the pure Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And then towards the bottom, it kind of went in on a Wednesday or a Saturday.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, that's how you could do it. But you can tell just by doing what I did here, putting, you just don't have that many lines to work with that are what you are asking for. So you're going to have to start saying, well, what am I willing to sacrifice?
Right.
But the design of BidPlus is that you get to decide what you want to sacrifice. The computer doesn't think for you.
Okay.
That's what keeps you in control of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Anyone else have a question?
Yes, Skip, this is Tom.
Yeah, Tom.
For all the coach roaches out there that just like to fly economy and aisle, avoid galleys and avoid purser, is the best way to do that to use the junk bank or to filter it out another way?
Well, you can use it. You can go either way. With this new feature here, you can say specifically, they're going to be 1 and 2 position lines that are going to be most of the coach. So you can bid for these guys. Okay. And do your search that way. So I just want to see the lines that are going to put me in coach economy. That's all I'm interested in. That's predetermined. When you bid that line, one of these lines, that's where you're going to be working. Okay. If you bid a base crew, then you're going to have to position bid that you don't want purser, you don't want the galley, because those position bids are premium positions on the baselines. So like if it's a 5-position base crew line, then positions like 4 and 5 are going to be coach. So if you position bid a base crew line, don't bid purser or FA1 or FA2 or FA3, because those are galley and premium positions.
I see. Thanks.
But if you bid, the 1 or 2 position lines, and you can say specifically where by using this feature. Anybody else? No good?